Hello and welcome to my channel on personal growth. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kate. I'm an integrative relational psychotherapist, a life coach, a yoga instructor, and an author. If you would like to schedule an individual online therapy session with me, you can find all of the relevant information in the description box below this video. Since today's topic is going to be how to find the right therapist for you, I will give all of you who decide to schedule an initial exploratory session with me a 20% discount. All you have to do is to send me an email and somewhere in that email mention YouTube video. All right, so how do you go about selecting a therapist for yourself? If you're like most people, then you will first have to get over the initial feelings of shame and embarrassment and feeling like an utter failure for having to go seek help with a therapist. But let me assure you, there is nothing to be ashamed of, there is nothing to be embarrassed of, and there is nothing wrong with you, and you are not a failure if you go seek help from a qualified professional who will see your situation in a neutral and objective way and from a completely different angle than you. People often ask me, can you recommend a therapist for me or my sister or a friend or whomever? And whenever they do that, I find myself in a fairly difficult position. Not because I wouldn't know any good therapists, but because what I like or need in a therapist is not necessarily what you or somebody else likes or needs or wants. So which are the qualities or the elements that you have to be mindful of when choosing a therapist for yourself? In my opinion, one of the basic things you need to check is whether you click with that person, whether there is some kind of chemistry, not romantic chemistry, but whether you feel comfortable with that person. Do you feel that you will be able to trust that person, rely on that person? Will you be able to share your innermost thoughts and secrets with your therapist? Because in therapy, you will not only be talking about good things or your positive qualities, you will be doing a lot of soul searching, you will be exploring your shadow sides, your negative qualities, your fears, things that you're ashamed of. You will be discussing issues you've never mentioned to anyone else before. So make sure that you choose a therapist who is qualified, a therapist that you feel comfortable with, a therapist that you can trust and rely on, and what is the most important thing to look for in a therapist is whether that person has done personal work. What does that mean? It means that you have to check whether your therapist has actually done personal therapy, at least 200 hours of personal therapy. You're probably wondering, why would a therapist have to do personal work and see a therapist? For one very simple reason, because therapists are just like other people. We have our qualities, we have our defaults, we have our good days and bad days and issues and stuff like that. And unless we have dealt with our own issues and script patterns and painful memories, it will be impossible for us to help you. Let me give you a very clear example. Let's say that I'm working with somebody who has been a victim of an armed robbery. And let's imagine now that I too had been a victim of an attack or a robbery, perhaps not with a gun, but with a knife. It could have happened to me when I was very young, but the memory of this horrendous experience is still buried somewhere deep inside me. If nothing else, my body, my cells, still remember that flight, fright, or freeze reaction. And unless I have successfully dealt with my traumatic experience of being robbed or being a victim of whatever other unfortunate event, it will be impossible for me to help a client who comes see me to help that client resolve an issue of the terror that person feels because of the robbery. If I haven't resolved my issue, I will quickly be either drawn into my client's story or I will try to draw the client into my story. And that's dangerous, and that's where therapy could potentially, not potentially, could do a lot more damage than good. So, when you decide to go see a therapist, of course, ask around, ask for recommendations, but be mindful. Do you feel okay with that person? Is that person qualified? Can you trust that person? Has that person done personal therapeutic work? I know that it might sound like a given, but not all therapists or coaches or guides or gurus or whatever have done personal work, and that's not okay. So, I hope you manage to find the right therapist for yourself. It's okay if you don't like to see the first therapist you go see. There were even studies done that demonstrated that on average, people go see 3 therapists before they choose the right one for you. So be picky, be demanding, and don't settle for just anyone. If you like this video, please do click like, share, and of course, subscribe. It will also help me grow this channel. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.